Hello, folks. Thank you so much for joining. This is Rashid here. Okay, we have already created this block diagram of our RISC-V CPU, the base one, RV32i. Okay, so that's it. So what we are going to do is I will make it into a separate series, or maybe we'll include in the existing series of microarchitecture. But before I go and implement this in system verilog, which is still definitely the next goal, we have created this block diagram and we have discussed the functionality and the working of each of these blocks in detail. Okay, but we need to test this um, at the system level before system verilog. Okay, and I told you that my goal is to do that in Python. Okay, so now onwards I will do a few quick short videos because we have already taken care of the difficult work, which was to create the hardware. Okay, so that is done, but we need to test this thing, right? If we put this together, all those 37 instructions, whenever you put some of them, all of them in different sequences, we need to test in every way that this architecture or the assumptions that we made are really correct or not before we go into system verilog. Because if something is not correct, something we haven't implemented correct now will be a short cycle, right? It's a Python code, we run it, we can quickly run it. We don't need to run this through, implement this in system verilog, and then you need to run those longer simulations, right? Right now is a quick short way of it. We need to convert into system verilog because later on we need to convert system verilog into netlist and do the physical design. All right, so I don't want to take a shortcut. Okay, we have created microarchitecture, let's go in system verilog, implement that. So let's do it properly. Even if it takes another couple of weeks, that's okay, but we need to do it things right way. So this is the microarchitecture. I have grayed out all the blocks, and the first block that we will look into is this one, the instruction memory. Now, in silicon, this will be a flash memory, okay, where we put the code in, our instruction, the code that we need to execute. All right, or we create another memory later on where from the flash we just at the time of power on or when we start the CPU, the code from flash memory comes into this SRAM. So whatever architecture we have, but for now we have to do the same thing. So in Python, we need to create a program, or assembly code, right? And the assembly code we need to convert using assembler, or we just create right now ourselves into hexadecimal. And those 832-bit hexadecimal instruction, we put it here. So what I'm saying here is, let's say this is the instruction, right? We want to add x0, 5 into x content of x0, the output is x1. And the instruction that corresponds to this one is the 32-bit value, which is here. Remember that this opcode, and there is a value for immediate, and then x0, x1, all those things, and whether it's add I or not, that opcode here, right? So that is the 32-bit hexadecimal equivalent of that. Now in the instruction memory, we need to store this one. This is the hexadecimal value, so we need to store this one. So our program will look like something like this, that this value we will store at this location. All right, keep that in mind that our instruction address bus for the instruction is 32-bit. So that means from 0 to all the way to 2 raised to power 32 minus 1, about 4 gig of memory we can read with 32 bits. Okay, so and one location will have this one, then it increments by 4, right? The next memory location This is an instruction and some other instruction. So you understand this sequence, right? So I will show you how eventually we create this assembly code, and not just one instruction. We'll put different type of instructions together, and we will write a code. We already wrote this assembler in our simulator. We'll see how we use that one. So maybe first a few instructions that we can test our Python code overall is we will create a program something like this, and this program we need to pass to our Python code. So here is the Python code for the instruction memory. Okay, so today's video is only about this. So instruction memory has an address. Address, remembers, where does it come from? PC. PC will do the next time. So this is 32-bit address coming here. And we read instruction memory. The very first time we need to write into instruction memory, or we already burn it. Let's say this is already burned, but we need to, in our architecture, we need to do all that, right? So this is the module instruction memory. Okay, I'm creating block by block so that later on it's much easier for me to create the system Verilog implementation. So this is one block of code that is for this piece, and I'm going to explain you there are 3 functions inside, and this is also defined as a class. So why is defined as a class? Why not we create a big function like this? That's first question, right? I'm gonna answer you that. All the comments here I put highlighted in yellow. Okay, so you can see those ones. So it has these 3 functions. Whenever we create a class, there's always one function is initialization, and the second function is we load a program like this one I showed you into this class, and the most important thing in this class is this dictionary. Okay, self, we say that, if you remember, whenever we will create a class, okay, and each object we create, let's say we create an object of this class, that object will be saved with whatever self. So we will get the pointer of that, and it will create for that object. Now if we create multiple objects, each will have its own this dictionary variable. Okay, it's not just one. So the beauty of classes is we can create multiple objects. But what I want to show you is this is in memory, right? If we had created a large function of this, define this class, the moment we are outside the function, that thing is gone, unless we created, of course, a global variable. So the beauty of the class is it can keep this value throughout the program, or you can say as long as our power is on, our memory will keep this data, whatever data we load into it. Okay, so you understand why we need class, why we didn't create just whole big massive function. Okay, class gives us that we can even create multiple of these, even though we will create just one of them, but we are really interested in creating this dictionary for this class and retain the value as long as we have that overall program running that executes this. Okay, and when this is class, this is always initialized function, and whenever this class is created, immediately, and later on I'll show you, when we instantiate an object of this type, so immediately of that type we will create a dictionary. And I haven't put anything. Ideally we will have the maximum value, we can have 4 gig total values, 0 to 2 raised to power 32 minus 1 values. Okay, but our program may be just 10 lines or 3 lines or 2 lines, so we don't need to reserve all that. So this one, it's kind of initially we just put this one, but we're not allocating all the 4 gig space on your laptop. Okay, the second function is load program. So we will give that code list. All right, so the code list that we give this is our code list. Eventually it will come something like this list, and this list it will be loaded onto this variable. Every new location, for example, 0, the next location, so 0, 4, 8, 12, C, right? And those, each of those locations, this will be saved. So this conversion, that from here to here to here, this conversion we need to do outside. This is not shown here. This is simply, we give it a code list, this code list, and it simply put this onto this dictionary variable. Understand that, right? This is to update this variable. This is to initialize this. Now this function is to read this variable. Let's say we have initialized this with multiple values, okay? And now initialization is, putting data into this flash is done. Now it's put in the system, and then PC value comes, and whatever PC from 0 to raised to power 32 minus 1 values, it generates different addresses. Okay, and remember this byte enable. So right now, every time we do increment of 4, okay, so we will, every location is 0, and then on 4 we have this, on 8 we have this, on C we have this, and so on. Okay, and this address we put here, get will give you the dictionary value, and this 0 means if, let's say, the address that we came and we don't have any data there, right, then 0, the return value will be 0. So we're trying to map it to maybe the real world. In the real world, if there is no your data at that location, maybe output will be high impedance, or maybe we will connect it to all the zeros, something like that. We need to check the specs of the flash memory. So if an address comes here and we actually don't have data stored at that, what will happen? Output is 0 or not. We will check what is in the case of actual memory, but this is kind of a model of it. Okay, and we are saying, okay, when address doesn't have any value, output will be 0. Okay, so you understood now? Okay, class, module, instruction memory, and it has 3 functions. One is the default one, and one is the load program, one is the read one. So whenever we load instruction memory, we will call this function, and whenever we want to read from it, one instruction by one instruction, which is we will connect BC to it, we will use it, this function of it. All right, that's it for now. Thank you so much. See you.